Yo guys, welcome back to Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park. My name is Attacking Toucans, and as you see, we built a new wooden coaster last episode, although I still gotta smooth it out a little bit. Still a bit janky, but today, our goal is to finish the medieval section of the park. We started this a long time ago, there's not much left to do, so today I'm just gonna hammer it out. So the first thing we're doing is we're going to extend this path onto the other side of the wall, because we are going to be making this our adventure rainforest jungle themed section of our park over here. I'm not going to build anything, but I wanted to put the path over here so we can know where it's going to be. The fact that we were able to expand the boundaries of the park and allow me to expand the park size, it's so awesome. I have so many new ideas. I am so invigorated and I'm so happy. This series might end up lasting for 4 years, but I don't even care. If I can build this series is named Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park. So if I don't end up building the ultimate theme park, then this whole entire series is false advertising. So I was a bit doubtful, but now that I can expand, I have some crazy ideas. For the jungle section, I think I'm gonna build an Aztec pyramid and also have a volcano, an active volcano, and I wanna have a river rapids ride. It's gonna be super freaking awesome. And every single time before I start building for one of these episodes, I usually just look at my park for, I would say a solid 30 minutes, just planning. Mostly planning out what I'm going to do that episode, I kind of picture everything in my head so that way I can build it faster whenever I'm actually building, so I'm not trying to think of everything just on the spot. But a lot of the time, I just look at the empty plots of land in this park and I'm like, alright, what can I do here? How can I turn this into an awesome asset for the theme park? Because my goal is to make every section of the theme park and every new thing that I build the best thing I've built so far. So I'm thinking about it a lot. Sometimes I get kind of stressed, but I always get it done. So right here, we are building a restaurant. It's going to be themed after the princess that's in the game. There's a princess mascot. And I used a feature while building this building that I didn't know about until I was working on the structure. And it is the ability to place paths on the grid of your building so you can easily put the flooring inside of your building. Did not realize that was an option, but that's going to make it easier to build other structures in the future, especially the hotel, because I want the hotel, I'm going to kind of go all out for the hotel whenever I build that. I'm going to have a hotel lobby, I'm going to have a restaurant, a back patio, it's going to go up pretty far. I might even try to put a swimming pool inside. That might be a stretch, but that is something that I think I could pull off. But yeah, there is so many options in this game and so many features. I'm still learning, even though I've been playing this game for hundreds of hours. And then every single category of theming is another huge thing you have to learn. First off, whenever you start a new themed section of a park, you need to kind of study the architecture for what that theming is based off of, so the buildings you create can be true to real life. So a lot of the time before I start new sections of the park, I will do a lot of research. I'll watch videos of other people working on similarly themed things. I'll actually look up the history of the architecture, why they do certain things. I did that a lot for the castle and for the French Riviera. I did that. I still need to do it a bit more for the vintage section. I need to look up some more vintage parks and start drawing inspiration from that. And I do want to mention the pier that I built. I did draw a bit of inspiration from one of my favorite Planet Coaster YouTubers, Geekism. The main idea I got from him was the idea of putting an arcade on the boardwalk. He did that on one of his videos, and I was like, that's a good idea, having an arcade on a boardwalk, because I don't know, I felt like that was a good kind of vintage thing to put on a boardwalk. So shout outs to him. I've given him a shout out before in the series, but he deserves multiple shout outs because he is a great Planet Coaster builder, and I love him. With the way this game works though, building structures and different buildings, half of it is knowing the architecture of what you're building, but the other half is just kind of putting a puzzle together, because you're trying to fit the pieces together in a way that doesn't look awkward, because as you see when I'm putting some of these things together, it is putting together puzzle pieces to fill in the gaps. I really enjoy it though. It involves problem solving, but it's in a really creative way, and I just find it really interesting. But yeah, so whenever I build these buildings, I kind of just always start off by building the basic structure just so we have something to work on. And then we just kind of keep on just adding stuff to it until it looks better and better. So I build a basic structure, and then I put on a roof, and then I start adding layers and trims and doors and windows, and then I'll add the bushes and plants, and all of those types of things. I mean, you guys have seen me build a ton of buildings, but that's kind of the thought process I'm going through as I'm building. And whenever I'm building these structures, I have a general idea in mind of what I want it to look like, but a lot of the decisions I make are kind of on the fly. I'm like, all right, with the pieces I have available to me, what can I add on to this next to take it up to that next level? And I'm always just trying to also use pieces in ways that you wouldn't normally see those pieces used. Like right there, I just used some castle crenellations to make a planter for the flowers and bushes I want to put in front of this restaurant. I would honestly say building things in Planet Coaster is really good for the logic and problem solving portion of your brain, along with the creativity portion as well. It kind of combines both in this really interesting way. So whenever I'm building things in this game, I feel really mentally stimulated, and that I'm also listening to music as well, usually when I'm building. So it's usually a really nice, chill experience. And I'm also loving having so many guests in the park again. I didn't realize that my computer would be able to run with all of them in there, but they are. And I also lowered my game quality down to medium quality because it's been at high for almost the whole entire series. And doing that honestly improved my frame rate by a lot as long as I have the game paused. So I think I'm just going to keep the guests in the park for as long as I possibly can, because I think it's 10 times cooler seeing thousands of guests fill up your paths and move around. It just really brings it to life. It doesn't make it seem like an empty sandbox. It makes it feel like a hustling, bustling park. Hustling, bustling. Wow. Don't you guys love adjectives? I know I do. Also, as of recording this video, the first episode of the series just hit 300,000 views, which is phenomenal. I am super surprised this series has been really picking up in the viewership, and I'm really happy because I've been putting a lot of work into the series, and to see it finally really starting to take off is awesome. Even though we're probably only about halfway done with our park at this point, now that we're able to add on to it. But, you know, I mean, then as the series goes on, the views kind of drop off because it takes me so long to make these episodes. I know a lot of people will find the series, they'll binge watch everything that I have put out, but then since it takes a week to 3 weeks sometimes to put out new videos, they probably either forget about it or whatnot. But this is one of those series where I'm not really focusing on the initial views of when the episodes come out. I'm making the series to be good so people can binge watch it in the future and see everything that Planet Coaster has to offer in one big, long, coherent series. I'm playing the long game with this one. Also, I'm adding lots of the new flowers that they added to the game. They look so pretty. I'm so happy they finally added some new plants, because the game was very limited with the amount of plants when it first came out, but they keep on adding new stuff. I feel like they could keep on adding new plants and nobody would complain about that. I mean, there's so many different plants you can add. In my opinion, the more plants, the better. So I honestly don't know much about the mascots from this game. I know there's the Planet Coaster Ball, there's a pirate dude, and the name of the princess is Miss Molly Golly, I believe, and she has a donut shop themed after her for this game. So I ended up turning this into a donut shop, I guess, and I used the donut sign. I think it looks really nice though. I think it blends in well with the architecture, and now we're gonna work on the interiors. I put some tables, trash cans, torches, put some indoor crenellations above the shops to make it look good. I'm gonna come back and add some more signs in here later. I kind of forgot to do that. But I put a giant clock and some statues, and I think it's a nice chill place to come and just hang out for a bit, maybe check your phone, upload some of your hot new Instagram pictures. We'll put some geo filters on Miss Molly's donut shop. Miss Molly Golly. What a freaking name. That'd be a really cool idea though, if I had a small contest where I had people use Photoshop or whatnot, or they could draw it as well, to create some made up geo filters for our park. So whenever people come to visit, we still haven't named our park yet. We're not gonna do that until the end of the series. That will be the final thing we do. But it'd be cool to have some made up geo filters. And at the very end of the series, this is the first time mentioning this, but at the very end of the series, I'm gonna be holding a contest where I have people draw a park map for this park, which will probably be a lot more work than I'm anticipating, but I think that would be really cool. So we could actually kind of add some lore to the park. So have some Snapchat geo filters, we could have a park map, maybe we'll create some billboards, we'll make some trailers or commercials for our park and kind of treat this like it's a real theme park, even though it's not. But I think the more we can do to bring this park to life, the better, because I've been working on it for a really long time and I think it's really dope. And I would like to give it some more culture, or something along the lines of that. But at this point, we are pretty much getting close to finishing up the medieval section. Having to add this roof section to this building because that wasn't able to copy over. And I filled up that last remaining little space on top of the hill over by the wall's gate. So I think we're pretty much done with the medieval section. Except for the Zelda coaster. I've been neglecting that a little bit. I need to make some Zelda coaster episodes still. That's almost done though. We'll eventually finish it. I eventually finish everything, as you guys can tell. But we're not done for this episode. I'm going to do a little bit more stuff. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this tunnel on top of the hill a little bit more clean. You wouldn't normally just have a path built through a tunnel like that. You would have walls in the ceiling, something to hold up the land so it doesn't come falling down on people, because that would be a lot of really bad lawsuits and it would make your park look very bad. Something else I wanted to talk about that I mentioned a few episodes ago was I mentioned this game called Virtual Towers Online. At least I think I mentioned the name of it. And I described the game, but I was a little bit inaccurate. So the game Virtual Towers Online is another theme park related game. But in that game, first off, the graphics are hyper realistic. I believe it's made with Unreal Engine 4. But in that game, you don't build the theme park. You actually play as I think you start off as a guest in the theme park and you just ride rides. And then you get a job as a janitor. And then you kind of work your way up the ranking system and eventually get to like park manager and stuff. I'm not too sure how the official gameplay is going to work yet. I need to play it myself. I haven't tried it out, but maybe I'll try it out on Twitch soon and then let you guys know what I think. But it seems like a really interesting concept. A new spin on theme park games for sure. But yeah, right now I am touching up the back of this building. It was really, really bland looking and it really bothered me. So I needed to add some windows and stuff so it didn't look so boring. We'll probably have another full episode where we work on just the French Riviera section and finish adding all the details to these buildings, because there's a lot more details we need to add to a few of the sections of it. And then we also need to build a hotel, because that will be included in the French Riviera theming. But I wanted to do a couple little things that were just bothering me. So I also rose up the cliff by the Gamma Ray, which I might actually change the name of our Gamma Ray coaster, because somebody mentioned a much better name for it, and I was like, that sounds better. I think the name was Quantum Entanglement. What do you guys think? Do you think the Gamma Ray coaster, which is that green one that goes through all the space rocks, should that be called the Gamma Ray, or should we switch the name to Quantum Entanglement? Quantum Entanglement sounds really cool, and I feel like it's a bit more descriptive of the coaster. But I built up the wall over by the building so you couldn't see the French Riviera section while on the coaster, because I feel like when you can see some of the other themes that close, it takes away a bit of the immersive experience. So I wanted to feel a bit more secluded. And to finish up this episode, I'm just kind of decorating this little section of lands connecting the medieval section to the French Riviera. Just adding some fences so people don't fall off the cliffs and just some flowers and trees. Sometimes I forget about these little transition areas, but they matter too. But overall, I'm really happy we finally finished another section of the park in this episode. Always is like a weight off of my chest to finish something I've been working on for a long time. So now we can put more focus into the other things we're working on, which is awesome. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call this an episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And the rest of the video will kind of just show off the medieval section. So enjoy.